everybody, John here, and today onto the garage. I'm taking a run from Lincolnshire to South Wales in Purdy, the 1996 XK8 convertible, and we're doing a pseudo hypermiling run. I say pseudo because, in the words of a great movie theme tune, we've got a long way to go and not long to get there. So what we're actually doing is a relatively scientific mile per gallon run, which means I'm not pussyfooting around. I'll be driving at the speed limits and getting up to those speed limits briskly, but not exceeding them. In between hitting those speed limits, I will be using good technique to maximize miles per gallon, but it's going to be a realistic session. So I've done this sort of run. I did Lincolnshire to Torquay in my previous XK8 called PJ. And what we learnt there was that PJ was capable of getting to about 28, 29 to the gallon, which I think is pretty impressive for an old 4-litre bruiser. Purdy is essentially identical. She's one of the very first cars off the production line. So as old school as these vehicles come. She's also a Nicasil lined car, which is to our advantage. Lower internal friction on the engine, so that's good news. She's in fine fettle. She's done a little over 50,000 miles from new, and it's going to be really interesting. We'll see what we see. This journey is going to take about 3.5 to 4 hours. It's 225 miles and covers a really good mix of road styles. At the moment, I'm on fast Lincolnshire A roads, which look a lot like B roads anywhere else in the country. Go through a lot of villages, little traffic lights, islands, all the rest of it. Then we'll get on to fast standard A roads with a mixture of single and dual carriageway, and then the last half of the journey will be on motorways before the very last section of about 10 miles reverting back to A roads as we enter Wales. Obviously we're not going to document the whole journey, that would be incredibly boring, so I'll just turn you back on and record anything interesting. Rather than that, give you a regular update on the MPG situation. So we're not long set off from home. Now been rolling for about 10 minutes. The engine is just about fully warmed up, and we're averaging 22.8 miles per gallon. Okay, so you rejoin us. We've almost finished crossing the Wolds. which is what passes for the mountainous, in inverted commas, part of Lincolnshire. It's the most three-dimensional bit we have. And I've managed to achieve 51, don't get excited, miles per hour average. Bear in mind, I haven't been breaking the speed limit, which is at most 70. You can appreciate that I really have been pushing on, and it has been quite entertaining driving the really quite interesting country lanes in places at those speeds. So yeah, quite pleased with that. We are 30 miles into the journey and we have just hit 25.5 mpg. No issues so far. It's reasonably early in the morning, so roads are quite clear. I am just following a little commuter car at the moment, which is slowing me up just a little, but you know, that's not his problem, that's my problem, so I'm not going to be driving like a loon to get around him, but making good progress. Little Suzuki Alto, a rare find, something for Mr. Hubnut. And just passing Rand Farm Park, if any of you know that. We're just reaching the county town, Lincoln. I can see Lincoln Cathedral on the horizon ahead of me. Mind you, that doesn't say much. It was the tallest building in the world at some stages in its life. So yeah, quite an epic cathedral. But going well still. I'm now following a couple of low loaders carrying road building equipment, so that's backed us off on the speed quite considerably. But has helped with the fuel consumption. We've been following those for a couple of miles now. We're now up to an average of 26 miles per gallon, 51 miles per hour, so still not bad. And we have covered 38 miles. We won't be going through Lincoln, which is good. We'll be using the bypass. Just following this guy around. He's got at least 8 steering rear axles on this low loader. So it's a hell of a big... Hello! Time for another update. So we're just on our first section of true dual carriageway. We've gone beyond Newark, so the roads are now reasonably flat and fast. And we're at 25.4 miles per gallon. We've got an average speed of still 51 miles an hour. And we've now covered 72 miles. The XK8 seems to have a nice trick, and that is, as speed increases, most cars drop off miles per gallon dramatically. But the combination of very high gearing and a very slippery shape means that this car's sweet spot is probably around 75 or possibly even higher miles an hour, where it generates that most efficient MPG. Sure, there'll be another sweet spot that's around 35, but nobody's going to be very interested in a nice steady 35. There is less drag on a coupe, so this effect should be exacerbated by that. I've got the roof up today. With the roof down, these cars are a lot less economical. And I have got the air conditioning turned off, but that's not a conscious thing. It was just I didn't need it this morning. It was quite cold and the cabin stayed quite nice, so why would I turn it on? As we said, I'm not making any huge efforts to do hypermiling, but now we're on these smoother, more flowing dual carriageways. I like to switch the computer over to instantaneous MPG, and by the minutest of adjustments of your throttle, you can edge the miles per gallon one way or another, and it's quite a good way of educating yourself and looking at the topography of the road, basically trying to gain a little bit of extra momentum on any downhill gradients so that you don't have to use too much throttle to maintain speed on the uphill gradients. It's a very subtle thing, it's not very obvious, but once you get into that flow, it kind of becomes second nature and can be quite rewarding and entertaining. Depends how you're wired. I'm very much wired that way. You rejoin me. We are now, whoops, let's get the miles for you. 136 miles into the journey. We're on motorways. We're currently on the M42, circumnavigating Birmingham. Traffic's flowing well, no particular hold-ups, and we are at 27.4 miles per gallon. A reality of that sort of figure is, whilst car manufacturers love to brag about the miles per gallon their vehicles are capable of, 30 miles per gallon for a petrol car a few years ago was kind of the limit. These days, petrol cars doing 40 to 50 to the gallon is pretty much the norm, at least in quoted figures. But in day-to-day use, they're usually considerably less than that. So yes, we're going reasonably steadily. Yes, I am on a motorway in a 4-litre car doing 70 because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I'm in a beautiful car doing 27 miles per gallon. And it's going up. So, well done, Purdy. You're almost making me look like a sensible car buyer. Well, we are 167 miles into the journey now. I'm just about to pull off for a comfort break at Gloucester Services. And we have now hit 28.2 miles per gallon. It's going well, don't you think? Must get my indicator clickers fixed. I think I've got a pinched wire on the speaker. Keep leaving it on. Ooh. Bit warm now. Right, short break over, and we're back on the road. Well, we're now crossing the Prince of Wales Bridge into Wales, no surprise there. So almost at destination. So what's the scores on the doors? We've had an average speed of 61 miles per hour. So again, that gives you an indication. I've really not been hanging around. This has not been being real delicate and pussyfooting to get this fuel consumption. We have done 216 miles. The last few miles is going to be through industrial estates, not particularly interesting. And our indicated average MPG is 28.8. As we're going to be slowing right down now, but keeping hammering along, I got no reason to believe that won't come up to 29. I'm very impressed. I know now that if I really wanted to, then this route I could get over 30 to the gallon. And that's pretty impressive. So I don't think you can say, but these are gas guzzlers. I really don't. Certainly they're capable of guzzling gas. And when I'm enjoying myself around the lanes back at home, you know, 14 to 18 is not unheard of 3/4 an hour's drive enjoying myself. But that's stopping and starting and blasting on a good run. These are very, very usable cars. Average fuel consumption has literally just clicked over to 29 whilst we've been talking. It's very pleasing. So, a short little video. Thought I'd just share with you my journey in terms of how the miles per gallon progressed. Yes, we're reading off the instrument pack, so you can say that there's going to be about 5% error. They're usually optimistic, but it's a lot easier than doing a tank to tank on a run like this, which is not long enough for a full tank of fuel. Please remember, if you're viewing this in the States, that a gallon in the UK is not the same as a gallon in the States. And even with these times of COVID bringing down the fuel prices worldwide generally, including in the UK, things like fuel consumption do actually matter in the UK because they are significantly higher than you might get in the US. As I announced in a recent live broadcast, we're going to have a photograph competition for XK8s, and that's going to run the whole of August. Please send in your best single photo of your XK8, XKR, X100, and the photo is the whole package: the background, the car, how you shot it, etc. Your favourite picture of your XK8 or XKR. Please send them to john@tothegarage.co.uk. We'll only look at photographs which are a single photograph. If you send me 2 or 3 to choose from, we won't look at them. And the subject in the email must be picture competition. If you'd like to support the channel, then get on over to the website www.tothegarage.co.uk, where you'll find all manner of great stuff, documents about the XK8 X100, a index to the secrets of the XK8 series, blogs, other materials, but also we've got a little shop and you can buy a sticker as your way of supporting the channel if you've enjoyed this. Please subscribe, please share. See you soon.